What are some free/low cost resources college students should know about? Paul's online math notes for calculus. It's filled with examples and decent, down-to-earth explanations that don't confuse the shit out of you. Agreed. As a mathematics student, I used these a lot in my first years as a student. Differential equations were a joy with this. Only a math student would call calculus especially a joy. Of course. If you ever had to do topology exercises, you remember how fun ODE and basic PDEs were. I'd almost say that dynamical systems was my first love. Go to the awards office at your school and talk to someone and find out if you qualify for anything. You'd be surprised how many bursaries and similar go unclaimed each year. As a student, every little bit helps, and you never know what you'll qualify for until you go and ask. Some are based on grades, sure, but many are based on need or your background or circumstances, and the occasional one is just first person to sign up with a pulse. Seriously, it's worth the hour it takes for you to go visit in person and talk to a real person who can guide you through. Or maybe you can do all that shit online now, but take the time. It could be free money to you and free you up to concentrate on your drinking studies. This is so true. My friend works at a major American university, and she said many scholarships and grants aren't even given out because people don't apply. I applied for a few small random ones as a sophomore and got $1.500 in multiple small scholarships. Use the library for everything you can. Textbooks, movies, games, music, printing, quiet study space, tutoring, etc. Librarians love to help, and you might be surprised what they can lend out to you. I borrowed a telescope last week. Librarian here. We do love to help. Many libraries have hotspots, so you can save data if you aren't on an unlimited plan. We use a program that searches other libraries for books, and then we can request to borrow it. It is a great resource, so just because your library doesn't have it doesn't mean they can't get it for you. We do have random things to check out, like you said. Some around us check out fishing poles and life jackets. Guess that's why a library is my favorite place. Not only you can obtain books and resources, but also they are one of the few endangered places left in our society where you're allowed to exist without expectation of spending money. ASL along carrot AS carrot YOU apostrophe REO are not overdue. Me with my 2-year-old borrowed psychology book and unsure if I'll ever be able to step into my library again. Once returned a book after more than a year. Turns out they accidentally marked it as returned and had not noticed. They were pretty happy and were acting like they just saw a unicorn walk in. Pay attention to events calendars. Most college events have free food. This may be different for this semester, but don't underestimate it down the road. Google Scholar. Great free Google search engine that gives credible articles to use in research papers and show you how to properly cite them. I exclusively use this in the Master of Science I'm currently undertaking. You can log into your university's network library credentials to get access to most of the documents/papers. Referencing wise, it's incredible as it gives you multiple styles, e.g. APA/Harvard etc. You can also view related papers, which I've found incredibly helpful. SAHB as well, especially for those papers usually locked behind paywalls that GS can't access. Haven't used it for actually reading/researching papers for class, but have used it to read papers on my own free time, including some my own professors wrote, and LibGen. You can find a ton of textbooks there too. This is a huge one. Hard to overstate how much it could save you. Outread General, Lib, Russ. It could also be okay. Org. Never buy/rent your textbooks from the college bookstore unless you can't find them anywhere else online. Seriously. Bookstores overprice the shit out of your books and you will save a lot of money getting them from Amazon, Chegg, eBay, etc. instead. And ask senior students about which books are useless to buy. Saved me so much money because I didn't buy books that the prof would never use. Or just ask if you can borrow this. You'd be surprised how many will say yes. Source: have loaned books to people I barely know. I graduated with an education degree and so had to take lots of praxis exams, which means lots of studying specific books and information that never change. A lot of upperclassmen would pass down these books, with notes and stuff in the margins, for free. The only stipulation was, when you were done with it, you pass it on to someone else who needs it. I swear the margin notes were 100x more helpful than the book info, more often than not, and a lot of people would add their own helpful notes. It seriously got me through those tests. Didn't have to take a single one more than once. Student email gives free shit. Lol, I popped in here just to mention AutoCAD and the Autodesk suite. It's over $100 a month, but free for students with a school email address. Does this include Inventor? It does. Free 3-year license. Dope. I'm gonna try this tonight. Find the previous editions of your textbooks. Frequently they will be as cheap as $0. 05. If your professor pulls homework questions out of the current edition, go to the library and use their reference copy just for the questions. Although with a lot of the access codes needed these days it might not be possible. Also, ask your professor if you will need the newest edition. A lot of my professors tell us flat out that it doesn't matter if we have older editions. And since it's a community college, and most of us are low income, some of them encourage purchasing/renting older books. CCs can have some pretty cool professors about it. A few from my school wrote their own algebra and calc books collectively that were on par with the ones I've seen since transferring into a 4-year. The cost? $25 if you buy the paperback, $0 if you download the PDF from the bookstore website. Half the time the CC professors are professors at larger 4-year schools as well. A girl in one of my college classes said she got all her books from Amazon at a fraction of the cost vs the school and off-campus bookstores. Also stated that getting books maybe a day or two later than everybody else to ensure she was getting the correct books. This is why I buy my books off Chegg. They have a really good return policy, so if you do end up getting the wrong book, or drop the class, or the professor says you won't need it, you have almost a month to return it. No questions asked. Full refund minus shipping. The problem with waiting to buy textbooks is that they can sell out. So it's not always the best idea. Got my first books from Chegg this week and my only complaint was that the books were grimy. I expected them to not be in great condition because they are used, but the grimy fingerprints during a global pandemic gross me out. Right there in your question. Instead of using free, type open source/openware. Many softwares are actually free to students to use. Seb gives free access to download almost any paper. Libgen, download almost any textbook's ADI copy. Seb is definitely illegal, but that never stopped me nor anyone I've talked to about it. Libgen is also illegal. Still an amazing help for students. Just as a clarifying point to any who might be worried, Libgen is not illegal in itself, and some of the things you download might be legal, but it is illegal to download most things that you're likely to use it for. While not technically free, you probably pay a bunch of student fees for access to the gym, pool, free/reduced, cost public transportation etc. Understand what things your student fees cover and take advantage of them. Along with this, sometimes off-campus places, restaurants, museums, sporting events, etc. will give student discounts. So always ask and keep your student ID on you just in case. Great Clips gives like $2 off a haircut if you are a student. Clip testing. It's a program that allows you to take a single test rather than an entire class for credit. It's only for some general academic courses, and each college has its guidelines on how they apply to credits. That said, taking advantage of them can reduce the time and money required to earn your degree. I'm looking at going to college and this CLEP thing sounds too good to be true. The dollar store is the best place for cleaning supplies, even for some cooking/kitchen supplies. Also college party supplies. For math students, Slater has the answers to nearly any question in the book, even the even ones. It's all done by volunteers, so some answers are shady, but the vast majority are very helpful. Just make sure to use it as a tool to check answers, not to get out of work. Otherwise test time will hurt your feelings. Also, use this at your own discretion. Frequently this will violate plagiarism rules of your university, and you risk facing the consequences of plagiarism. If it's a math problem and there is only one way to solve it, then isn't everyone just plagiarizing the answer? How can it be proven? Always look up your textbooks online. They may have a virtual copy for very cheap. You can then use Ctrl+F to find certain topics easily during study sessions. Also email authors of papers and ask if you can have a copy, since they usually don't see the money that you'd pay on a website for them. If you're a student in a smallish department, try to start a trend of donating your textbooks to the next year or class for free. Seriously. Burn the whole system. Photocopy things. Pass them for free. Post them online, if you can do so securely. If you buy the newest copy, it's pretty much the same as last 2 editions with a different format. So make a part of study sessions to find the correlating pieces and put that info out there. It's really hard to fight the criminally unfair cost when you're a tired student. So just do your best to support each other. My uni library has actually a specialized book scanner where you can digitalize books completely for free. But I study somewhere where books aren't overpriced, and not necessarily to begin with. Every prof has his/her own specialized script with everything you need to know that they upload online, or giving you in a printed and bound copy for free, obviously. Also, our library has most of the more used books in quantities that allow a lot of people to use them. Remember, you get 50% off Amazon Prime when you make an account with an EDU email and Spotify.